Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of Automation Testing Insider. So this is part 9 of Selenium Framework Development Series from scratch. So in the previous part we talked about how we have implemented the singleton design pattern in our framework. Now today we'll talk about how we can implement the Log4j in our framework, correct? So let's have a look at the agenda for today, guys. So we'll talk about introduction to logging, like what do you mean by log, and why we use Log4j for logging purpose, and what is Log4j 2, right, the second version of Log4j, and we'll talk about how Log4j works. Later on we'll discuss about different levels of Log4j, and at last I'll show you what are the different steps we need to follow to integrate the Log4j 2 in our framework, right? So let's have a look at the first topic, what is logging or introduction to logging, right? So logging is a way to record information about application execution. So whenever you execute our application, right, whenever we run our script, so we need a certain information, right, for the debugging purpose, or if you want to know the flow of the application, flow of your execution of the script, right? So generally what we do, we use like system.out.println, right, to print the particular step, like what we are doing at that particular step. So instead of that, what we are going to use now, we can use the logging mechanism. So logging is a way to record information about the application execution. This is the simple definition of like why we use logging and what is the logging mechanism. Helps in debugging, monitoring and troubleshooting, correct, and essential for large scale and multi-module applications. So generally when we have big project, then this is very useful, right, because it is very difficult to debug the application, to understand the application workflow. So Log4j is very important when we have big projects. Why we use Log4j for logging, right? So it is in industry standard logging library for Java. So this Log4j is from the Java, provides flexible logging configuration, like we can print the logs on the console, and we can add those logs into file as well. Supports various logging levels like debug, info, warn, error and fatal. So we'll talk about them in detail in coming slides. What is Log4j 2 now, right? So this is successor of Log4j 1 with improved performance and functionality, Asynchronous logging for high performance system. So performance is better in this Log4j because of the asynchronous nature. What is asynchronous in this sense, like Log4j 2? So basically there is one thread to generate the log, and there is another separate thread to write the logs into the file or on the console. Okay, so two threads working separately in this Log4j 2, and that gives the better performance of the application or our script, right? And better configuration via XML, JSON and properties file. So we can configure with XML, JSON or properties file this Log4j 2. How Log4j works? So there are three components in Log4j. One is logger, right? Capture log messages, like logger. This is how we need to create the object. We need to call this get logger method, and from the log manager class, right? I'll show you how we can create this variable, this logger, and then how we can achieve the logging mechanism. There is another one is like appender, which defines the destination of log messages, like where we need to write, like console or file, database or anywhere. Layout. So layouts means format of the log messages. So in the XML I'll show you what are the different categories, like logger. This is for the logging mechanism, like we create the object and we use those methods, and appender is there, and layout. So there are three different things or different components in Log4j. Log levels in Log4j. So there are different levels. Trace, this is fine-grained informational events. Generally this is used for development purpose, useful for debugging the internal working of the application. These are detail level. Basically we have another like debugging the debugging information. Info, which generally we use for our automation. General informational messages. Warn is there, indicates a potential issue or an expected situation that isn't critical but may require attention. For warning related messages, right, we can print the warning message. Errors that prevent some functionalities from working. So this is important, and this info is important for automation purpose. And there is one more, like if you have severe application related issue like fatal, so we can use that as well, that level. Now let's talk about steps to integrate Log4j in the framework. So this is what I'll show you practically how we are going to follow this. So let me just quickly go through it. Add Log4j dependencies to pom.xml. So there are a couple of dependencies we need, like Log4j core and Log4j API to use this Log4j mechanism in the application, right, in our framework. Create a Log4j.xml file in the particular folder directory in the root directory of the application, probably like src main resources. You can keep this Log4j.xml file. I think we have already created the Log4j.xml, but I think we have not written the inside, we haven't written any contents inside that. So configure loggers, appenders and layouts in the XML. So these 2 points, like we need to write a Log4j.xml file and configure it with loggers, appenders and layouts. Create logger manager utility class, which we are going to create, and initialize the logger in your class. So we need to create the logger, we need to initialize the logger in our probably we'll use in base class as a primary class to start this, to initialize the logger in our framework, right? And use logging methods like logger.info, logger.error, like that in the framework. So this is what we are going to do today. These are the steps which we are going to follow. So let me take you directly to Eclipse, guys. So far we have covered in the framework series 8 videos. So if you haven't watched those videos, then I would recommend first go through and watch all those videos. Just navigate to Automation Testing Insider channel and watch those videos. Navigate to this playlist tab, and here we have all the playlist name is Selenium Framework from Scratch 2025, right? So let me take you to Eclipse. So this is the project which we have created, and you can see. So the first step is we need to open this pom.xml and just add couple of dependencies, right? So here we can add. So let me quickly. So Log4j core Maven dependency we need from Maven repository site, right? So what we'll do, we'll take this 2.24.3, click on that, copy the dependency from here and put it in the pom.xml. And another one is, this is Log4j core, and we need Log4j API as well. So we can search simply here Log4j API. Log4j API here, you can see, right? So what we can do, we'll use the same version, correct? Log4j /API -API, correct? So we'll use it. Press Ctrl Shift and F to arrange the pom.xml and do Ctrl S, so that it will build the project, correct? So this is done. This is the first step which we are done. We just added the Log4j core and Log4j API dependencies in our framework. Now what we'll do, if you go to this srcmail resources, right, we have already created log4j 2.xml, while I think in the second class we have already created this log4j 2.xml, the file, but inside the content we haven't created. So I have already created offline, guys, this file. To save our time, what I'll do, I'll simply copy the entire XML and I'll put it over here, and what I'll do, just save it. Let me quickly explain you. So there are three things, right? One is appender and pattern layout, the layout of the class, and then we have loggers, right? So here you can see this appender, what it does, console appender, and it will write the logs in the console. Here you can see, right, console name, console, and general file appender. So what it does, file logger. So we'll create the log file here, logs, under logs, here we have log folder. Inside that it will create app.log, correct? The first thing, this one will write the log on the console whenever we run the script. So in the console we'll see the logs over here in this console tab, right, once we execute our script. The second one is general file appender, this one, file logger. It will create the file like app.log in this particular directory, logs, and under logs folder, correct? And there is a particular thing it will do, like exclude error and fatal logs from this log4j app.log, okay? And another one is error file appender. There is another appender. What we'll do here, include only error and fatal. So what we'll do, inside this logs folder we'll create two files. One is app.log and another one is error.log, correct? So this error.log will contains only error and fatal related messages, and in the console will contain all the information. So this is about this XML file, and there is loggers. So here we have, simply we need to just provide the root of the package, right, com.demo project. I need to just change it to orange HRM, orange HRM. Just change the package name over here, com.orange HRM, because whenever we create the logger object, so this requires at that time, we can give any name over here, but like in base class we are going to create the object, right, we are going to initialize the logger. So that is the reason we give this package name over here. So com.orange HRM, com.orange HRM. So this is about the log4j.xml, and I have already added the log4j file here, guys, log4j 2.xml sample file. So I'll provide the link in the description box so that you can download it. I have already created, so it is available in the ATI Digital Hub site, okay? So I'll provide the link in the description box of this video. Now what is next? What we need to do, we have to create the logger manager inside this utilities package, com.orangehrm.utilities. Right click and new class logger. You can give any name, but let's give meaningful name like logger manager. Click on finish, and what we'll do here, we'll create one method, public static. We'll create a static method so that we can call using this class name, logger. What we can do, so let's write one method, guys, get logger, and what we'll do, so what this method will do, this method returns a logger instance, logger instance of logger is an interface. Okay, so it returns the logger interface so that we can log for particular class. So this method returns a logger instance for the provided class. So what we'll do here, we'll provide the class for which we want the log. So how we can provide, like class, and we use generics instance of any type of class. So we can give like this class and then question mark, which means unknown type, right? So it will take any type of instance of the class. So, and we can give variable name like class over here, and inside that what we need to do, we have log manager, right? Log manager class from which we call get logger method, correct? And what will do, what it will return, return log manager. So I think we need to change the return type to logger, correct? Set method return type to logger instance. So this is what we can write, and our logger manager is done. So this is how we can write the logger manager. Now what we'll do, we need to initialize the logger wherever we are using the logging mechanism, right? So let's make it like in the base class, the primary location where we use the logging, right, where we initialize our logger. So how to initialize this? So we'll create like public, right, and static, let's make it static final, so that once we initialize we cannot change it. We are not going to change, so we'll set it as final logger. We can create variable like logger here, correct? And then logger manager, right? Our class name is logger manager dot get logger, correct? And we need to just provide the base class dot class. This is how we can write, correct? And we have to just import this logger from org.apache.logging.4j, right? log.log4j. So this is how we can create the logger. Now we need to just use this logger object and call different methods, unimplemented methods from the logger interface. So what are those methods? So what we'll do, so here we can write like logger dot info, like that we can write. And here properties file loaded, correct? config.properties file loaded, like this we can give. And here let's see, let's say about after this one we can give like logger.info we can give WebDriver initialized and browser maximized, right? Maximized, like this we can give. And action driver instance is created. So instead of this system.out.println, we can simply give logger now, logger.info, correct? And now let's do one more thing, guys. Inside this setup method, let's set up all the logger related methods. Okay, so we have logger.info, logger.trace. So we'll see whether we are able to get all the messages or not, right? So here what we can write, trace messages, trace message. Simply you will give like others as well, error, if you want to print error related message. So error message logger dot what we have, debug, debug message. This is a trace message. We can give proper message like this, correct? And we have fatal as well, logger dot fatal. So trace debug info one is there. One more, logger dot warn. Like this we can give, correct? Now what we'll do, let's give some meaningful inside this and this one as well, like inside launch browser. So what we'll do here, logger dot info, here we can say like Chrome driver initialized, right? Simply just copy this, or Chrome driver instance is created, like this we can give, correct? Simply copy this message and put it inside here. Just change it to Firefox driver instance is created. Similarly for Edge driver, like this. Now what we need to do, inside the tear down, what we'll write here, we have already given, right, system.out.println. So simply you can just change it to info dot logger object dot info, correct? You can give like this. So I think pretty much done, guys, for base class. Now suppose we want to use this logging mechanism on, we want to use this same object on action drivers. How to use it, right? Open the action driver. So simply we need to write here public static final logger, correct, of logger interface. We need to just import from org.apache.logging.log4j, and here we need to just write like base class dot class, correct? And we need to just import, change type of logger to base class dot logger. We need to just call this logger from the base class, right? Yeah. So instead of this system.out.println, we can use info.logger, correct? We can use like this, sorry, logger.info, correct? WebDriver instance is created, and here we can write like info.logger.info. Here we'll put clicked an element, correct? And here what we can write, logger.error, unable to click element, correct? We can write like this and enter text. Here what we can give, logger.info value entered, and here we can give value like this, correct? Enter text or enter value. Enter text and what is the value, and instead of system.out.println you can give like logger.error, correct? Now get text, you can add the same thing over here. Instead of system.out.println I'll use logger.error. If you get any exception, then we can simply unable to get the text like this we can write, and here we can simply use logger.info. Wherever we have used system.out.println, we can simply write logger.info, here logger.error, correct? And here also logger.error. So this is how you can change you can update the system.out.println with logger, guys. And here as well, logger.error, right? Here logger.info, and here you should give logger.error. So like that you can change, and here also logger.error. Here we got also exception, so here logger.error, element is not visible, logger.error. So like that you can change in the action driver class wherever we have used like system.out.println. In place of that you can use logger object and you can log it properly, right? So done for now, everything is done. Now let me simply run the test, guys. So let me open login test, and what we'll do, we deliberately fail this invalid login test. So we have when we enter invalid username and password, then we should get some message, right? So let's say the expected error message I'm getting like invalid credentials 1, some different message, okay? Like I'm deliberately fail because we get invalid credentials, but I'm expecting invalid credentials 1, so this case will fail. So to test the logging, right? So let's see how it works. I think everything is done whatever we have written over here, 6 steps. So add log4j dot dependencies in the form.xml, create log4j XML, we have done, configure loggers, appenders, layouts in the XML, create logger manager class, initialize the logger in the base class, and use logging methods like logger.info, logger.error on different methods, right? So let me just run it, right click and run as testing test. Now you can see there are two tests, one is pass, one is fail, and here if you see one test case is pass, failed, the invalid test one, right? So if you go to console, you can see all the logs as well. So here you can see guys, from the first thing, like base class config.properties file loaded, that is info message, right? So this log is here you can see the properly it is logged in the console. Info base class Chrome driver instance is created, so it is giving the class name as well. So that is very like it's very beautiful. And WebDriver initialized and browser maximized. You can see all the messages as well, like this is a test message, error, debug, fatal, and one message, right? So you can see everything is logged over here. Now let's check the files. So where we have files inside test resources, no here, so we need to just refresh the project, and inside logs we can see app.log has been created. So you can see here app.log, everything is logged here, right? Like info, trace, error, debug, fatal. And if you go to error, here also it is logged everything. Oh sorry, let me, yeah. So if you go to app.log, here you can see everything is logged except error and fatal, right? You can see here whatever we have like info, debug, warn, everything is coming over here. And if you see in the error.log, it will just capture like error and fatal, right? So this is how it works guys, Log4j in the framework. So you can implement in your framework as well in the same way. So you can just download this one, Log4j XML file, which I have provided over here, right? I'll provide the link in the description box of this video as well. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe this channel if you haven't done so far, right? And watch all those framework related videos. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.